dab. Alright guys, so obviously the first attempt at making this video was definitely bad. If you saw that one, the audio levels were not good, so I decided to come back in and do this another time with a different approach on the sound levels. This is really just me talking about my reluctances to fight Ultron and Rogue. They were both the biggest challenge for me, probably based on the power of how much I believed they would be challenges for me. Looking back, if I would have just handled it a bit more patiently, I think we would have done a whole lot better. Okay, so here we are viewing what is going on with the different fights, and they are all reminiscent of the previous days of Trial of Heart, Trial of Fortitude, Trial of Spirit, all the different ones that we had, Trial of Wisdom, Trial of Strength. So you just have to look out for who has what. The toughest fight is the one that's going to have the recovery on it, like Ultron had, and even like Rogue with the Mesmerize and Bane. That was just a nightmare, man. I lost Archangel and Iceman on that fight. Totally not a good time. Other than that, we didn't really do too bad. So, just a heads up, before I made this video, I did actually watch Seaton Men of Legends do this on a live stream, and he chucked on every single boost from all the days previous. So, Fortitude, Heart, Patience, Strength, Will, Wisdom. You use them all, and you just go for it. It actually is a very sweet buff to every champion you're going to use, and it makes the fights a lot more lenient when it comes down to block damage or if you make a mistake. So, almost right away, the Hulk is fighting pretty well. I thought he would be the best option for this fight, and I think I was correct. Except for launching off the Special 2 and intercepting quite well. Only to find out very soon, Ultron's regen is ridiculous. That's 1539 a tick. Health coming right back to Ultron. That's not even his base ability. So I was thinking this is nothing but an uphill battle. Like, what is happening here? So as I continue to fight him, I stun him out a whole bunch, I back off, I bait the L2. Regen comes right back, and it's just a pain in my butt, man. And this is where he starts getting some serious hits in on me, and I almost find myself in the bin until that awesome intercept, and then tossing that third special. This probably saved me a whole lot of dying just to get this much more damage off on this Ultron. But as you can see, I have the arc overload, I have the physical and energy resistance as well. I really wasn't paying attention to that on this first fight. As you can plainly see, he evades me right there and then launches the L3 and I'm totally kabammed. So after just getting over it, losing the Hulk in a worthy way, we put in Agent Venom, and he does well, but man, I still lose some health here. Starting off with that fierce regen on Ultron was just not going that great, and I was thinking, okay, special damage will be better than just normal attacks. But as I forget so often, the buff from the earlier trial, can't remember which one, gives me increased special damage every 10 seconds of the fight. There's no timer to count that, so I'm really not sure when that high special damage is going to roll in, but I keep on throwing it and throwing it and throwing it against this regen, and it pays off eventually. And now for the moment that every gamer hates on his phone when he gets a phone call in the middle of a fight. Gladly, I still won this fight though. So far, when it comes to this Trial of the Infinite Quest, it's kind of a game of how long can you last for the buffs to pay off for you, as clearly demonstrated by that Agent Venom versus Ultron fight. It's kind of like they give you everything you need in the fight, you know, on top of base attributes of really good champions and everything, but you really have to put in some work because that regen, whoever you fight on that regen node, you're putting in work no matter what. So for that fight, it's like how long can you last unless you have a heal block champion or unless you have a regen reversal champion like Void or Guillotine or just a super high damage output character who does it over time or something like that. Now into this Black Panther fight, we find an entirely different situation because this was much easier, because he doesn't regenerate and because Dr. Voodoo had double power gain because of one of those boosts. That's why I was able to do so many special attacks in the last few fights. Last couple, 2 fights. Yeah. But this Black Panther's pretty easy to rinse. So as we're going here, I'm just stacking crazy amounts of poison, but right there I make a really big mistake and actually let him hit me. So I come out of this fight with less health than I wanted, but it was pretty simple. Another thing to note when you put on those boosts is that it gives you the ability to have mesmerize yourself. So it's an auto evasion that stuns your opponent. Now, this Howard the Duck fight was very basic and just, easy. But on the one after Mordo, when I got to Rogue, man, that mesmerize really worked against me. You'll see what I mean. We're going, and it looks like I'm just gonna win super easy, right? But right about here, where the mesmerize takes over and stuns him, I take advantage of it, and I make the classic nameless mistake, and I go over aggressive. He launches the third special one time, and totally puts my voodoo in the bin. I was pretty salty. You could tell by my little circle reaction there. It happened again. And inevitably, we check our boosts. We throw on a 20% champion boost, and it's Agent Venom to the rescue once again against this poor man's version of Ultron, Duck in a mech suit, doppelganger, crappy champion that never should have put in the game. But yeah, man, that regen's kicking in on Agent Venom. He's gaining some decent health. He's got a fairly decent stride here. That bleed puts him right in Assassin's range, and he is in the bin. It's over. So we redeemed ourselves there, and we continue. Okay, so going into fighting Mordo, right away, I knew I was going to use the Iceman, because his L1 shuts down that evasion, and that opens the door for parries, which I really did not use that many of in this fight, surprisingly. When I watched Seaton do it, he was up against a Mesmerize and Bane Mordo, and that had me just dreading it and just feeling like it was going to be the worst ever. Obviously, I did the very stupid thing of trying to attack him there. That was not smart. But soon enough here, the tables turn. Yeah, on this parry right here, I wait and I attack him right at the right time and throw on that little known trick, but it does work. Shout out to Dorky Diggity Dave for the tips on how to fight like a ninja. They pay off, guys. They pay off. So another reason that I really love using Iceman against Mordo is because Mordo's special 3 already doesn't really do a ton of damage in my opinion unless he's super stacked. But Iceman eats L3s for breakfast, so it's totally all good. It comes on right here again. The regeneration has Iceman's health in a very good place. 5% health lost. I could take that, you know? And then for the rest of this fight, Mordo kind of tries to play that defensive thing. You can see him flinching on his block. He caught me there with a heavy attack. Whatever. One thing I do not understand about Mordo, maybe if somebody could leave a comment or something, how does he degenerate through block? Like, how does he do that? He just did it twice on me. So that put my health at a very unsavory level. And I was not trying to wait for that arc overload timer to come back around, you know? So I just put him in the bin. Going into this fight with Archangel, I totally thought I had it sewed up so good. Forgot all about the Mesmerize and the Bane on this rogue. Yeah, man, needless to say, some crazy stuff happened in this fight. So we start off, we stack 1 bleed on her. His durations are pretty good for damage over time. So I'm really not that worried, but as you can see, I did not pass that Bane back quick enough. That was already a big disadvantage in the fight. So we're just going for max damage output right now, just knowing we gotta dodge that L2. So we get out of the way of it, we put the Bane back on her, and we stack another L1, so really decent damage out of Archangel. The regen had me super hopeful, like okay, maybe I can redeem myself. But the Bane comes back on, we throw it back on her, and Mesmerize, man, it just kicks in and I lose Archangel. Oh, sad day. Alright, so in order to spare my Agent Venom for the last fight, I put in Iceman, and I'm hoping, I mean it's only a little bit of health left, like come on Bane, work for me for a change. I go in for some hits, she gets the Mesmerize, I wasn't stunned, and she just capitalizes on it. Like I lost all ability to function when I saw her land hits. I just assumed it was over. So that is why I did not have skill to meet that. So your boy Agent Venom is our last line of defense. It's all resting on him. 5-star, 345 Agent Venom. Can he make it happen? It's not that far off. Can he do it? That was the question in my mind. 5% health and effortlessly gets the parry and puts her in the bin. Now after this, I begin to stand up. I gotta stretch off the anxiety because I'm like, okay, last fights are coming. Are we gonna be able to do this? So I take a minute here to really just exhaust, and I even say a prayer. Going in for the Star-Lord. We give this boy one last look over before we jump on in. Nothing too threatening on the defensive utility side of things. It's all offensive if mistakes are made and you actually get hit. So I was feeling really nervous to start this fight. You can tell, you can see it all up in my face. Even in my interactions, I'm way angsty. But we get on in here, man, and it's way easier than I thought it was gonna be, because I took Agent Venom in there like full-on assault Rambo mode, like paying attention to everything, heightened senses of war. So it wasn't that difficult. All honesty, coming up pretty soon, yeah, right here, mistake was made me extremely tense, because like I said, heightened senses of warfare. So I just continue to just bludgeon this fool, man. Like, I'm taking block damage, I don't even really care that I am. I'm just thinking, let me bleed this dude out, and here comes the victory. We did it. So the Trial of the Infinite Quest Expert Mode is completed. We get ourselves some nice little rewards, and I'm just overall excited with the progression of my account. I used to not even be able to do these quests, but with patience, ranking up and upgrading, and taking up the right champs, we did it, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. I hope that you guys sincerely and thoroughly enjoyed me struggling through that quest, but still coming out on top like a true underdog. Yeah, man, if you guys have discussion about that quest, man, drop it in the comments, hit me up online. My contact info will be in the description of this buffed up and different narration video. Until then, or until we see you guys next time on the channel, keep crushing it in the contest. God bless. Have a great rest of your week.